sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
It's for the love of the game. It's for the love of the game. For the love of the game.
Watch me swerve side to side. Whoever said I'd lose, lie. Thought you knew, thought you'd know. Players, that's just how we roll. You are cold, I am hot. I just have what you do not. I'm in the lights, I'm in that spot. Go drive your boat while I ride my yacht. Don't get it twisted, I love this. When I'm in the ring, you see my face. Look at my roll, look at my trunks. Leave you off in the corner slow.
The love of the games and the games that we play. The houses nor the cars, fame or the pay. It's for the love of the games and the games we play. The houses nor the cars or the fame or the pay. No pain, no gain, no pain, no gain.
Cafe Versailles, downtown Miami, all around Miami, and Little Havana. They are ready, they've been waiting, and the day has arrived. Marlins Park, which sits in the heart of Little Havana. The Miami Marlins, the San Francisco Giants. Marlins have won 2 in a row, but today is all about Jose. Jose Fernandez returns, and he makes a start against the Giants. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hunt. Marlins have some momentum. Walk-off win last night. The buzz right now is all about Jose, and this place really lit up when he walked out of the dugout 15 minutes ago.
Rich, this is a big day for this city. It's a big day for the franchise. It's a tremendous day for a 22-year-old who's made some big starts in his career. I guarantee you this is the biggest one he's ever had.
A reminder, the resume of a guy that is not yet 23 in Jose Fernandez.
Well, you look at those numbers, 16-8. The one that stands out, yes, he was Rookie of the Year, but if you remember, he was also third in the Cy Young voting in that rookie season. He's been tremendous at home. 12-0 with an ERA a little over 1, pitching here at Marlins Park. He's never faced the San Francisco Giants before. I think that's a good thing.
His warm-ups are done as he heads to the dugout. Now the other side. What a story this is. Matt Cain, who's been the anchor of the Giants rotation for 10 years, he's been gone for about a year.
He has had lots of injuries over the last year. The last time Matt Cain took the mound was in July last season. He's had forearm, elbow, ankle issues, and you're right, he's been their steady stalwart over the last few years.
What are the reasonable expectations for the two aces that take the mound? Jose Fernandez takes the ball. Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini will discuss when we return. the San Francisco Giants. What are the expectations for Jose Fernandez? With answers, Greg Minervini, Jeff Conine.
Well, you see him hugging just about everybody who's been very important to his return, including Ron Yakub, who worked with him on the rehab, and Brett Butler and Dan Jennings, Chuck Hernandez, the entire team. Everybody's been anticipating this moment. Jose Fernandez, Jeff, what's going through his mind right now, do you think?
I mean, he cannot wait to get out of that mound right now and pitch in front of his hometown fans here in Miami. The energy has got to be unbridled. I mean, he is such an enthusiastic guy anyway, but for this day and the anticipation of this day, he's going crazy inside right now. Even though he looks pretty composed outside, inside right now, you could light up a city.
Yeah, he told me yesterday he thought sleeping would be almost impossible. Somebody was asked, do you like the game of at 12? He says, I'm not sure. But we'll find out. Now, from a pitching standpoint, everything seemed to go according to plan in the rehab. His last numbers weren't great. The Marlins weren't really caring about that as much as his health, how the ball looked. What do you think today? What's the realistic expectation today?
Well, that's it. You got to be realistic about what we can expect from Jose Fernandez. I think everybody wants him to get back on the mound and throw a no-hitter his first time out. But there's going to be maybe some limitations as far as innings and pitches. Mike Hill said yesterday that there are no pitch limitations on him. But I think they're going to be careful, especially depending on what the game situation is. But you might see a little unpolished Jose Fernandez right from the get-go.
We'll see. Common sense is how Dan Jennings put it. Jose Fernandez, here we go. This long, long road is back in Miami. And back today from Tommy John surgery. Next on Fox Sports Florida.
Time, then a long wait, but that day is here. And he takes aim at a very good offense, a team that is one of the toughest in the National League to strike out. Jam Lexus brings you the Giants lineup. Gregor Blanco, Joe Panik, Matt Duffy, Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, Andrew Susac will catch. Justin Maxwell in right, Matt Cain hits ninth. He's 22 out of Villa Clara, Cuba. And his first pitch is a fastball for a strike. 94 miles an hour. Pinchapetty brings you that first pitch. And the long road back is complete for Jose Fernandez. His mother and a lot of campers and fans here in Miami happy to see it. Working with Jeff Mathis, his abuela, his grandmother, who used to climb to the top of her house in Cuba to hear the Marlin games on radio when Fernandez first got to the big leagues. Now, Tommy, emotions, nerves, how does that figure into this start?
Well, it figures in greatly. I think it's a key that Jeff Mathis is behind the plate, a veteran catcher who's been able to calm many young pitchers down.
Line into center field. Gregor Blanco has a base hit. Nobody hits the Marlins better right now in baseball than Gregor Blanco. A 9-game streak for Blanco.
Let's check on the defense behind Jose, brought to you by BMW. There's Yelich, there's Ozuna, Ichiro in right field, Miguel Rojas, Echeverria, D. Gordon, Justin Bohr around the infield, Jeff Mathis, aforementioned, behind the plate. Good defense out there behind Jose.
Joe Panic now, and Fernandez misses. It's 1-0. Scott Barry's calling balls and strikes. Ted Barrett, Chris Conroy, Angel Hernandez on the bases. Panic is having an all-star type season. Young second baseman who had such a nice postseason last year. Takes a strike and on base at 380. He's slugging .459, 20 doubles, and he's been terrific defensively up the middle with Brandon Crawford.
I think it worked well too, Rich, that Jose had this start in a 12-10 local start here in Miami. You think about the nerves, the emotion. Had he had to deal with that all day for a night game, I think would have been a lot tougher.
You saw Chuck Hernandez there in Miami's dugout. Hernandez saw Jose pitch in high school over in Tampa. He told us yesterday calming Jose down might just be impossible, and it shows right now. He misses outside with a fastball.
And I would say the one time that we saw that in Jose was that start he had in 2013, his Rookie of the Year season, when he returned to where he had gone to high school over in St. Pete against the Rays.
Yeah, facing a team and pitching in a park where he saw his only big league games before he got to the big leagues. Count 3-1. Gregor Blanco, a line drive single to center. Joe Panic, Matt Duffy's on deck, and Buster Posey looms in the cleanup spot for the Giants. A bouncer wide of first, and the count is full at 3-2. Miami a winner last night in walk-off fashion. They got to Santiago Casilla for 3 runs on a Justin Bohr walk-off shot. So the Marlins, without Giancarlo Stanton and without a few other key parts, trying to find some sort of foothold, get some sort of momentum headed towards the break.
See if Bochy has Blanco on the move.
He's running. Panic sprays it down the line. It's a fair ball by Rojas. Yelich picks it up. Panic's not stopping. Throw into second is cut, and the Giants are in business with runners at second and third and nobody out.
You talked about this ball club. The last 12 games, too, for the Giants, they've hit over 360 with runners in scoring position. They got a couple of tough left-handed bats at the top in Blanco and Panic. And you also consider 2 guys who are on streaks. They've been hitting the ball well.
This is a different Giants team than you're used to seeing. And for a guy like Jose Fernandez, it's not a lineup that is conducive to strikeouts. Only Atlanta has struck out fewer times in the National League than the Giants. And so here is Matt Duffy, who has emerged as a really nice piece at third base for Bruce Bochy. Infield's back, and Fernandez with a breaking ball.
Good slider. He hasn't been able to throw that pitch, and he needs to incorporate that pitch early on. So when you give up a couple of quick hits, it's hard to incorporate your repertoire.
Duffy had a couple of hits last night, including a double. Another breaking ball, another strike. It's 0-2.
I think he's incorporated it pretty well so far. Those first 2 pitches to Matt Duffy.
Oh, 2 pitch coming. He got him. fastball, 99 miles an hour.
I think the 2 base hits got him fired up even a little bit more. 2 sliders, see you later with 99. And movement.
Now it's Buster Posey. Buster Posey is hot. 7-game streak. And in those 7 games, he's driven in 13 and hitting at a .464 clip. Lines it to right. Ichiro's out there. Makes the catch. Tagging and scoring is Blanco. Moving to third is Panic. And Posey drives in another run. San Francisco has a 1-0 lead.
Buster Posey, 19 RBIs in his last 12 games now. He had a great month of June, 27 RBIs, so he's been their key guy driving in runs.
And Gregor Blanco, who started it all, scores. Brandon Belt now with 2 outs. Belt in left field with Posey at first base. Posey hit last night in the mask, left the game. He passed all of the concussion protocol tests. And Bruce Bochy has him at first base and moves Belt to left.
Yeah, you knew he wanted to be in there today, too.
Yeah, he and Matt Cain very close. Belt saw it off. Little pop. Rojas back edge. And it bounces. It's loose and not caught. And the Giants have another run. Rojas and Echeverria both left their feet. It looked like the ball popped out of Rojas' glove initially. San Francisco's up 2-0.
You couldn't throw this in a more perfect spot. It was a good pitch to Belt. He blooped it out of the reach of Rojas. Echeverria couldn't get there, and it was certainly too far for Yelich in left field to get there.
So the 2 hits to start the inning bite Jose Fernandez. And here is Brandon Crawford, who belted his 11th home run last night. That is a new career high for a guy that is hoping to get a little all-star play as well.
Well, he has a chance because he has his manager managing the all-star team for the National League, and certainly deserving. He's having a solid year.
In the air down the line, and it's foul. Ball and a strike. And that's the impressive thing about the Giants lineup. Mom on the edge of her seat. So is Grandma for Jose Fernandez. Ball and a strike. And a quick move to first. The Giants first in average, second in on base, third in slugging. And for a club that plays their home games at AT&T Park, which is a great pitcher's park, that's impressive stuff. First changeup we've seen.
Yeah, he's starting to get a feel for the secondary pitches. We saw a couple of really good sliders to Duffy, and that changeup there to Crawford. I think Grandma wants him to blow him away with the heat, though.
1-2 coming.
Went back with the changeup. The impressive thing, Rich, I had forgotten that when Jose went down in 2013, after 8 starts, he was leading the major leagues in strikeouts at the time.
Crawford to right, Ichiro there, and he makes the catch. But the Giants strike early. 3 hits and a couple runs. Jose Fernandez is back. But right now, the Giants are on top. Now Matt Cain takes the ball. The Marlins get a look at Matt Cain, Miami's lineup. Brought to you by JM Lexus. D. Gordon in a deadlock for the top spot, hitting in the National League with Paul Goldschmidt. Christian Yelich is hot. Danny Echeverria at short. Justin Bour is homered in both wins against the Giants in this series. Marcell Ozuna, followed by Miguel Rojas, Ichiro, Jeff Mathis, and Jose Fernandez. And here is D. Gordon. And he takes a strike. And Matt Cain, after a year's absence, the 30-year-old, back on the hill and back in the big leagues.
You know, certainly not the severity of Tommy John surgery, but Matt Cain over the last 12 months has dealt with bone chips in his elbow. He had right ankle surgery, and he had a strained forearm. So he's dealt with a lot.
Liner foul. Well, D. Gordon has had an incredible run. 12-game hit streak. He's hitting at 350. He and Paul Goldschmidt start the day both at 350. That one right on his hands. It's 0-2. Gordon in this series has 2 hits. An inside the park homer, a 3-run inside the park homer, and a triple. Breaking ball, ground ball to first. That's Posey. He gets to the bag. Giants a very good defensive team, much like the Marlins. Posey's at first.
And also very good up the middle, much like the Marlins. BMW brings you the defense. Belt, Blanco, and Justin Maxwell in that outfield. There's Crawford and Panic up the middle. They've made just 38 errors on the season, the Giants have. Duffy and Posey at the corners, and Andrew Susak behind the plate.
Now Christian Yelich. Yelich's season has taken an upturn. The back injury really slowed him down in the first month. His average up to 251. And he certainly looks like the guy who the Marlins saw when they brought him up in 2013 and had a really nice year last year.
You and I have talked about it a lot, Rich. The key for Christian Yelich is the on base, drawing walks. During his 4-game hitting streak, he's 8 for 12, but he's walked 4 times. He's been on base 12 of the last 16 plate appearances.
Counts 3-1. It was Yelich last night that started that 9th inning with a line drive into center. Danny Echeverria would follow with a hit, and then Bour hit it out. That one almost hit Yelich. And so Christian Yelich is aboard. Matt Cain, a little bit of control issues. So what do we expect from the big guy?
Another walk for Christian Yelich. 3 solid pitches. Change up, good slider, fastball, moves. Only 15 starts last year. And be careful when he steps to the plate. Matt Cain, a pretty good hitter. Really, if you go over the last 2 years for Cain, just 10 and 17. An ERA over 4. He's dealt with injuries the last couple of years.
But Danny Echeverria in the 3 spot. Miami's lineup is still trying to figure out how life goes on without Giancarlo Stanton. A big hole left by the struggles of Michael Morse, former Giant, and the injury of Martin Prado.
Right there, you're talking about middle of the lineup guys. You're talking about 3, 4, 5 hitters or 4, 5, 6 hitters.
Morse has been on the disabled list now for about 3 weeks. Prado on the DL almost 3 weeks with a shoulder injury. Yelich is running, swing and a miss. Susak's throw is not in time.
I think you might see the Marlins take a little more advantage with Susak behind the plate as opposed to Buster Posey. Good jump by Christian Yelich. And a 1-hopper to second base.
Yelich now with 7 bags, but an 0-2 count for Susac. It's been a tough year throwing out runners. Just 4 of 29 he has thrown out. And a good tight slider. Down goes Echeverria.
There's that good slider from Matt Cain.
2 early runs for the Giants. And now Justin Bour with 2 outs.
Certainly not the way I'm sure Jose mapped it out in his head over the 14 months that he had to think about this first start.
Now Bour, a homer in each game of this series. And in the absence of Giancarlo Stanton, Bour right now is the power source for Miami. 8 home runs for a guy that the Cubs essentially left unprotected in the minor leagues. Rule 5 draft pick, minor league Rule 5 draft pick.
You can see from Justin Bour, he's being a little bit more selective too over the last few days.
Doesn't go for the batting gloves. Little pine tar, bare hands, big guy. George Mason. And Cain way outside. It's 3-0.
And I guess you could say speaks softly and carries a big stick.
Yes, he's a very rapid interview.
That was his first ever career walk-off major league home run, though, last night.
Well, Cain walks Bour, a pair of walks, Yelich and Bour. And now a guy that the Marlins really want to get going, and that's Marcell Ozuna.
Ozuna just missed hitting a home run last night. Hit another ball well, so you hope that's a sign of good things to come for him. The fact that he has just 4 home runs, but 2 came in San Francisco.
Dave Righetti watching Matt Cain in his first start in almost a year. Ozuna pops it up, first base side, Posey over, and it's out of play.
Matt Cain over the years has had some pretty good games against the Marlins. 6-4 in his career. In this ballpark, 2-0 with a 1.98 ERA.
3 injuries last year. Cut his finger in the spring, hamstring, and then bone chips in the elbow. And with a straight arm, he was able to pitch this spring training, but that flexor tendon he sprained. Slider misses.
We've talked about the Giants and how much they need Matt Cain with Lincecum going on the DL. And it looks like that might happen to Tim Hudson. The possibility. They certainly need Matt Cain.
Another reinforcement arrives probably tomorrow, and Jake Peavy as he comes off the DL. Ozuna not biting on a pair of breaking balls, and the count's 2-1. I think we've seen both guys who have been out of the game for a year a little bit uneven here in the first inning.
It's just so much different than those minor league rehab starts.
There's Jake Peavy. He's anxious to get going again as well. 2 outs, just underway. Giants with a 2-0 lead. Ozuna pulls a ground ball to third. Duffy gets to the bag, and Miami is done in the first. Pair of walks, but that's it. Off of Matt Cain, it's 2-0 Giants. Jose Fernandez, the return of Matt Cain. Fernandez back out second inning. There were 3 hits in that first. Andrew Susac, Giants catcher, fouls the first pitch back. Justin Maxwell and then Cain due up for San Francisco. And a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-2. It's the first time Giancarlo Stanton has been back post-surgery. Good to see him on the rail. There's that left hand. Just a splint. Marlins are hopeful that the 4 to 6 weeks for hamate bone surgery is closer to 4 than 6.
Well, with that splint that he has, he'll be able to keep his legs in shape, be able to do his running.
0-2. Bouncer to third. Rojas across the diamond in time to get Susac. Miguel Rojas, Jose Fernandez.
Boy, he has fun out there, and that's something that Marlins fans, that this team, I don't want to say they missed it. They missed Jose, but he's one of a kind when he takes the mound.
Well, in a year where the Marlins are certainly not where they thought they would be record-wise, for a lot of reasons, Maxwell fouls it back. Just to get a guy like Fernandez back on the field, he's been in and out of the clubhouse during his rehab. But to get him out on the field every 5 days, and in that dugout every 5 days, certainly should be a shot in the arm. So is a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
And also, during the rehab process, he wasn't making trips, road trips. So now he'll be with the club every day, and that's a good feeling too.
One-two coming in the dirt. Speaking of dirt, when he was growing up in Cuba, they didn't have rosin beds, and so Fernandez, who continued that in high school in Tampa, went to the dirt, swing and a miss, and he strikes out Maxwell. He'll get a little bit of rosin, but he likes that dirt, and he rubs it on his pants throughout the day. Not much time left to vote. Last day of All-Star voting, 2015 Esurance All-Star Game ballot. You can vote 35 times per email address at marlins.com/vote. Voting ends tonight. Log on and vote. D. Gordon, Giancarlo Stanton, last check, still leading. Gordon leading at second baseman. Stanton second among National League outfielders, but in line to be named a starter. Cain, as you pointed out, has power, but he waves at that fastball.
Well, it's been a while for Matt Cain with the lumber as well. Yeah, 6 career home runs. Yeah, get the hand out of the way, Jose.
Echeverria to first, and a 1-2-3 second for Fernandez. Giants on top, 2-0.
My family is more important than pitching. My family is more important than my elbow. My family is more important than my own life. Those two, my grandma and my mom, they bring to me the world. They make me who I am. They make me the man that I am today. They teach me how to be in life, and I got so much respect, so much love for them that there's nothing that I can compare the love that I feel for them to anything that I do in my life or that I have in my life.
His mother, his grandmother. Now, Jose Fernandez, during the break, on his way towards the dugout, was intercepted by Scott Berry, the home plate umpire, and they were talking about the clock. That's something that Jose has not pitched with in the big leagues yet.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Jose is one who likes to get out of the dugout, get on the mound, get his warm-up pitches, and he's ready to go. So not used to that 2-minute clock out there. He was talking to Scott Berry about that. You could throw more pitches, but I don't know at this point if he wants to do that warming up. So he might have to just stay in the dugout a little bit longer.
Miguel Rojas takes a fastball from Cain into the second inning. Rojas, Ichiro, and Jeff Mathis for Miami. Cain walked a pair, struck out one in the first. Rojas sprays a ground ball out to Panic. One out, here comes Ichiro.
Jose also thinking about that first AB in quite a while.
There are a few Marlins who are slumping. We talked about Marcell Ozuna, who's on a 1 for 26 right now. Ichiro uncharacteristic at 0 for his last 16. But as he explained to you a few days ago, Ed, you take that, you don't panic when you slump, you don't get too high when you're going good.
Because you know what's going to happen.
Ichiro to right. Maxwell is there and makes the catch. They hit that one hard. 2 outs. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Hashtag FLDataStrongFan. Just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. San Francisco 2 early runs. We got right to Jose Fernandez in the first. Matt Cain goes after Jeff Mathis. Mathis has suffered a broken hand early in the season. Behind in the count now, 0-2. Jose said he felt at times that during his minor league rehab that he swung the bat better than he threw the ball.
Keep in mind, too, there was a time because of the surgery that he was not able to swing the bat either.
What do you see from Matt Cain so far?
He's not certainly as overpowering. He's never been an overpowering pitcher such as a Jose Fernandez. But he's working his pitches, his slider. He's keeping his two-seamer down. Cain's always been a guy, when he's on his game, a lot of ground balls.
Of course, he had that great postseason run in 2010. 3 October starts and no runs in a World Championship. The first of 3 for the Giants in this 5-year window. Posey gets to the ball, gets to the bag, and both pitchers have 1, 2, 3 seconds. brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Checkers, mix and match our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe. Get the 2 for $5. Checkers, it's in the bag. And by Auto Nation. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. Saw Cafe Versailles here in Little Havana, downtown Miami. 2-0 Giants on top. Our Jessica Blaylock is in and about downtown Miami. She'll be checking in at Cafe Versailles, which is a normal stop pregame ritual for Jose Fernandez. Now we'll try to get Gregor Blanco out, and anybody wearing a Marlin uniform has had trouble doing that, especially in this ballpark. Blanco, a line drive single, started the first. His numbers are just incredible. In this park, he's 22 for 49. That's 449.
That's why I think this is a key inning for Jose. There's a changeup because he's got a couple of left-handers in Blanco and then Panic, who got base hits, single and a double. So second time around, it looks like he's changed his pattern a little bit in pitching to him as well.
Blanco, Panic, and then Matt Duffy. And if anybody reaches, Buster Posey. There's a good breaking ball, and he strikes out Blanco.
He really did pitch him differently. He saw a changeup that time, and then he put him away with that hard slider. There it is, biting, down and in. That's going to get most left-handed hitters.
You get a sense after burning off the nervous energy in that first inning, Fernandez is settled in and is pitching. Strike to Panic. St. John's University, a shortstop in college.
Mixing in the changeup now every once in a while, too.
.99, he's topped out with his fastball. Up the middle, and Joe Panic is 2 for 2.
Probably wanted to put that where he put the pitch to Blanco, but it stayed out over the plate, got more of the plate instead of down and in. Remember, down and in, tough for that left-hander. It's out over the plate, and Panic's able to get to it. It's a difference in pitching in rehab games and at the major league level. Major league level, you make that little mistake, doesn't seem like a lot, but a major league hitter is going to get to it.
Now Matt Duffy, a role player at the end of last year for the Giants. Now all of a sudden in a starring role in the 3 spot, hitting in front of Buster Posey, and the combination has been quite successful. A ball and a strike.
You know, in that role last year for Duffy, especially toward the end of the year, some key pinch hits. He was 6 for 15 as a pinch hitter last year for Bruce Bochy.
And an amazing story. Obviously, it's been told a few times, but if you are just watching the Giants for the first time and you see this name, Matt Duffy, and you think, boy, this guy came out of nowhere. He almost did. Long Beach State is a great program, but Duffy never homered, never hit over 300, never slugged over 300 while he was there. Breaking ball fouled back. But he got in the minor leagues. The Giants made him a late round draft pick. And once he got in the minor leagues, all of a sudden the power started to come. He hit over 300 in his major stops from single A to double A to triple A. And last weekend, he was a hit short of the cycle in back-to-back games. Fouls that one off. I mean, he's hit 8 home runs this year in the National League, and he didn't hit 1 home run in 3 years in the Big West Conference.
Those last 2 breaking balls up a little bit more than Jose wanted them. He's fortunate that Duffy's just fouled him off.
3 strikeouts, no walks for Jose. Panics at first. Jam shot, pop up. Gordon makes a catch.
A few breaking balls and then 96 on the hands.
So there are 2 outs. You can take advantage of prorated season ticket plans. Get the best seats for upcoming series. Limited seating remains in the $15 per seat season ticket plan. That includes a free Marlins jersey for every 2 seats purchased. Marlins.com/2015 tickets or call 1-877-MARLINS today. Now Buster Posey. The sacrifice fly back in the first. Jose Fernandez so good in this ballpark in particular. This is start number 21 here at Marlins Park, and he has never lost a decision. He's 12-0 here.
12-0 and an earned run average of 1.09 coming into the day.
Bouncer, Rojas has it, gets the out. And Jose Fernandez through the third. Those 2 early runs standing up for the Giants. Chuck Hernandez, Miami's pitching coach, will join us live when we return. 2-0 San Francisco. We want to talk pitching. Chuck Hernandez, the fine pitching coach for the Fish, joins us now. Chuck, what have you seen in the first 3 innings?
Well, he really looks good, to be honest with you. They hit a couple balls, in good areas in the first inning and gave up a couple runs, but his command looks good. His breaking stuff is sharp, and he's using his changeup. So he looks good and healthy. It's good to see him out there.
First pitch, and Jose takes up. It's been a long road, and for you, a great history with him. You saw him pitch in high school.
Yeah. Back in Tampa, I did. I got to see him, as a young man, and watching him grow in all he's accomplished, all he's been through. So a lot of lessons in life for him. So I know right now. Is this count? Oh, it's 1-1. He's going to try to go deep. I know he is. he's not even thinking about a single. Oh.
It's chopper to third, and Duffy crossed the diamond.
Chuck, you're in the dugout, and you've seen Jose the way he is. How important is that for the ball club with his energy and what he brings into the dugout, even on the days he doesn't pitch?
Well, I mean, that's just the way Jose goes about it. When he comes, he brings his heart and soul to the ballpark, and when he's pitching, he's going to be a handful. So we enjoy watching him do it, and we encourage him to be himself and enjoy it and go out and do the best he can every time he's out there.
How do you keep, were you able to keep him from getting too amped up
to start this ballgame?
No, you know what? I thought he was pretty good, actually, considering how long it's been and how long he's been out. But he warmed up, you know, stayed within himself real good throughout the whole warm up, and I thought that showed some maturity. He was a little bit calmer than actually that first day back in New York a couple years back.
Any number in mind, Chuck, with pitches or innings today?
Yeah, I mean we have it in mind. We know where he's at. He's been through a process. You know, we're going to take good care of him, and we're going to make sure that our first one comes out on a good note.
All right, Chuck, thanks for the visit.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Chuck Hernandez, pitching coach for the Marlins. We thank him for joining us. D. Gordon pops out. It looks like Matt Cain has found his groove since those 2 walks in the first inning.
Yeah, if you watch Matt Cain, who's yet to give up a base hit, he's moved the ball in and out, and he's tied up a few hitters. He tied up D. Gordon with that pop fly there. Of course, Matt Cain, the author of A Perfect Game back in June of 2012 against Houston.
Yelich walked back in the first. He's reached base now in 13 of his last 17 plate appearances, and he pulls that one hard but foul. It's a ball and a strike. Yelich locked up to a long-term deal by the Marlins in the offseason. The back injury slowed him out of the gates. But a very nice month of June with the numbers building towards the end of the month. He has 8 hits in his last 12 at-bats. See that stretches over the 4 games. 2-1 coming from Cain.
And we've talked about it. It's what Christian Yelich has done in his young career, even in the minor leagues. Always had a high on-base percentage. It was near 370 last year.
Cain missing up. Matt Cain at 40 pitches. Jose Fernandez 49 pitches. Yelich drives it to left. Belt won't get it. It's over his head and off the wall. And Yelich stays hot with a double.
I just want to say that is so Christian Yelich. Stay back, get a little deep into the count, let the ball come to you, rip away. Belt playing medium left field, and he just drove that ball over the head of Belt, who had no chance. Beautiful swing.
So Yelich is now 9 for his last 13, and he's been on base in 14 of his last 18. Echeverria. Cain with 2 outs. He struck Echeverria out in the first.
One of the things you said, Rich, you talked with Marlins hitting coach Frank Menachino about in talking about Adeiny Echeverria, who today is hitting in the number 3 spot for the 6th time. It is a little different. Some spots in the order maybe not so, but it is a little different.
As Menachino pointed out, you get pitched a little differently, and certainly the psychology is different. I mean, it should matter, right? An at-bat is an at-bat. But if you ask any hitting coach and any hitter in the big leagues, they will tell you that moving in different spots of the lineup can mess with your head.
So far, not too bad. 5 for 20 as a number 3 hitter.
Yelich a big lead at second. Thought about running. Cain spins around.
It's good communication out there with the Giants. Either Susac, Crawford, or Panic got word to Cain that Christian Yelich was creeping a little bit the pitch before. might have gotten word from the dugout as well.
Echeverria liner into center field. That's a base hit. Yelich will score. Miami's on the board. And that's the swing that has had Echeverria around 300 all year.
That's going to get him close to 290. And remember, hitting in the number 8 spot, which is where he was for the good part of the year, he's always got that pitcher hitting behind it. The little slider looked like out over the plate. There are times he pulls off that ball, but he stayed on it and drove it nicely.
And that's the swing that Menachino talked about. Echeverria getting back to, staying inside the ball. And it produces a run, and here's Justin Bour with 2 outs. Speed at first with Echeverria. Giants have their shift on. They're panicked in shallow right. Crawford behind the bag. Last night, Bour punched one right between where Crawford and Panic are right now for a hit. And of course, homered to end the night with a Gatorade shower.
Boy, a 2-0 fastball that left in a hurry. With Echeverria hitting in that 8 spot for a good portion of the year, he's not going to have as many stolen bases, but he's 3 out of 4. And you always have the feeling if he hit in another spot of the order, he'd get his 15 to 20 steals a year.
Bour gets jammed, pops it up. Duffy calls and makes the catch. But the Marlins get to Matt Cain for a run. And after 3, it's 2-1. Giants on top. It's the 4th. The tradition of a Jose starting. You see the pitch count, 46-49. Fernandez touched for 2 runs in the first. He goes after Brandon Belt with a fastball for a strike. Matt Cain has been sharp. Miami finally getting to him for a run in the bottom of the 3rd.
I think, Rich, it was interesting what Chuck Hernandez said, Marlins pitching coach, that he was somewhat surprised at the command that Jose has shown so far.
That one foul back. One of the great traditions when Jose pitches. We forgot all about it, but the Cuban sandwiches from the Taste of Miami just showed up.
Absolutely delicious.
And down here in downtown Miami, in the heart of Little Havana, Marlins Park sits. And so every 5 days we get a delivery, and it's much appreciated. That's a swing and a miss. Brandon Belt goes down. And Jose has a strikeout.
And the command of Jose, much appreciated. The slider, the changeup, the fastball. He's moved in and out. Had a little trouble in that first inning. Amped up. Trouble with the command. The stuff was there, but the command wasn't.
Now you're amped up. I mean, I don't know if you combine the Cuban sandwiches with some Cuban coffee.
Well, you have to.
But apparently it's working because you're all fired up.
Oh, this is good. Good stuff.
Yeah, a whole pile of them.
Can't beat it.
Jose Fernandez, Marlins, and the Giants. Fastball. A line drive, base hit. Brandon Crawford around first. He'll hold there. Ichiro up with it. There's a look at the taste of Miami. It's sort of like dinner and a show. Only today it's lunch. So Crawford a hit. The Giants have 5 hits off of Jose Fernandez. Miami has 2 against Matt Cain. And Andrew Susac, Giants catcher, fouls it back and out of play. Susac was originally scheduled to catch this game because Posey playing last night, day game after a night game. But remember, Posey came out in the middle of the game after getting hit in the mask. Bruce Bochy's lineup didn't come out until an hour and a half before game time. Posey passed all of the concussion protocol tests and is at first base in the ball game. Susac is catching.
Yeah, I think the Giants were waiting to see how those tests were with Buster Posey, who certainly is a huge part of their lineup.
Count 1-2. There's your box score for the Giants. The hits that hurt were in that first inning. Blanco a single, Panic a double, Brandon Belt an RBI single.
And the Belt base hit was a jam shot, just a little blooper out of the reach of Rojas and Echeverria.
And right now it's the difference in the game. Breaking ball, Rojas sliding, stop on his feet, got one there. Gordon's turn is a nifty one, but it's late. Miguel Rojas has a reputation of being a wizard with the glove, and that was quite a play.
There was a lot of thought behind this play too. To slide, to get down, pop up, perfect throw to D. Gordon. Just not quite quick enough to turn 2. I don't think anybody could have turned 2 there. But great anticipation and creativity from Rojas.
Now Justin Maxwell. Susac remains at first. Soft single into right. Maxwell extends the inning with a single. Here comes Matt Cain. So you've got Fernandez facing Cain, 2 aces who are coming back after a year's absence. Matt Moore is coming back, and he's pitching for the Rays against Cleveland. First of all, the Rays actually have 3 hits, so that they're not in danger of getting no hit or a perfect game.
That could be news in itself.
Moore has gone 4 innings and given up a run on 2 hits, struck out 3.
Yeah, the Rays have got 3 straight games through 5 innings without getting a hit.
So 3 top of the rotation guys that have been out for Jose 14 months. For Cain, he's been out of almost a year, and Moore's been out I think 15 months. They all return this afternoon. Jose fastball for a strike.
I think one of the things that Jose said that was really interesting to me throughout the rehab process, he said it really helped him learn to take care of himself.
Swing and a miss, down goes Cain. And Fernandez strands a couple. In Little Havana, here in downtown Miami, Cafe Versailles is the place to be, and we're headed there. Coming up live.
Now I am at one of the most popular restaurants and bakeries, Cafe Versailles. This is actually a place that Jose Fernandez himself will come to on the day that he pitches to grab something to eat. And a couple of Marlins fans following his example, they stopped here earlier on the way to the ballpark and grabbed a pastry. And guys, normally I like to send food to the booth, but today this one is all about me. I think that I'm going to go ahead and grab a pastry and follow in Jose's footsteps. How good does that look?
Very nice, Jessica. Very nice. We've had our delivery of Cuban sandwiches from the Taste of Miami here at Marlins Park. And for Jose Fernandez, back up on the horse. He and Matt Cain dueling. Jeff Mathis and Jose catching up in the dugout. Marlins go to work against Cain in the bottom of the fourth. Marcell Ozuna, Miguel Rojas, and Ichiro against the 30-year-old out of Germantown, Tennessee. And Cain delivers inside. Couple of hits, and that's all it took for Miami to get a run in the third. Those are the only hits against Cain.
Cain's rehab starts this year. He was in AA and AAA, had four starts. A little over 19 innings, 18 hits. At command, 19 strikeouts, just 5 walks.
2-0 pitch catches the corner, and it's 2-1. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready. We got to get ready. Day game after a day game. Quick turnaround. Preview of the 4th of July weekend. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson tomorrow. Ozuna in the air. Maxwell is there, and he makes the catch.
Boy, the struggles continue. 1 for 27 now for Marcell Ozuna.
So here is Rojas.
Talked about Ozuna last year with 23 home runs. Marcell Ozuna with 4 has not homered at Marlins Park this year.
That's astounding. Rojas bounced to second, and he cranks that one into left. A base runner, and now Ichiro. Dan Jennings, Miami's manager, put his best defensive team on the field with Fernandez throwing, and that put Ichiro, who's slumping right now, out in right, and put Rojas at third.
And also with the veteran Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Ichiro turned on the ball last time up, hit it very well. I don't know if he got it right on the screws, but hit it a good fly ball to right field.
Well, he's 0 for 17. That got us to thinking, what's the longest 0 for in Ichiro's soon-to-be Hall of Fame career? As it turns out, he had an 0 for 25 at one point.
And I would bet you could go back in history, and every Hall of Famer hitter, a George Brett, a Wade Boggs, could talk about an 0 for 20 something. He's not a video guy in the video room a lot. Ichiro once in a while, but he has his routine that he stays with that routine because he knows eventually he'll get a couple.
And in talking to Frank Menechino about Ichiro, he said his issues right now are not mechanical. It's just getting a good pitch to hit. It's maybe being a little more patient, getting something that he can drive.
2,886 hits. 4,164 if you combine his Japanese totals.
There's the 2-1. Our crack staff supplying us with Tony Gwynn's longest 0 for, which was 0 for 19.
See, the crack staff had to make me a liar. It was almost 0 for 20. So the late Tony Gwynn and 0 for 19.
Look, I think we can round up without any issues. We can round up. Count 3-1. Cain has walked 2. He struck out 1. Fernandez has struck out 5 and walked no one.
Rojas with just average speed. I don't know if Dan Jennings would have a run and hit here in this situation, but it is a possibility. That's probably why Cain's gone over first base a couple of times.
Ichiro takes out and walks. In Miami with runners first and second. Saturday, the Rays head to the Bronx, take on the Yankees in a game you can see only on Fox Sports 1, beginning at 12:30 Eastern. And at 7 Eastern, baseball night in America. It's the Marlins and the Cubs on your local Fox station. It's all this week on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1.
If you talk to Bruce Bochy or if you talk to Dave Righetti, the Giants pitching coach, they would say they've been pleased so far with Cain except for the command, because that was his 3rd walk.
Jeff Mathis 0 for 1. It's bounced out. Cain misses away. Well, the Giants bullpen, Marlins illustrated that last night. Giants bullpen has not been real good of late, giving up 16 runs in their last 17 innings. And so Bruce Bochy is hoping that Cain, much like Dan Jennings with Jose, gets him 6 innings.
And that was quite a scene last night when Casilla started to struggle, and Bochy picked that up right away.
Sergio Romo was trying his best to get hot in the Giants bullpen just as the ball was leaving Justin Bour's bat for the 3-run walk-off homer against Casilla. 1-0. It's 2-0 now. Fernandez is on deck. Breaking ball, bouncer in the hole. Crawford, there's one. Panic's turn. An outstanding double play combination. Brandon Crawford, Joe Panic, they turned 5 double plays last night and a big one here in the 4th.
For no reason. The doctor, the team, everybody was happy with. And I think that, I think hopefully it's going to be a really special day.
2-1 ball game. Giants on top. And Jose Fernandez gets the top of the order again. Gregor Blanco, Joe Panic, and Matt Duffy. There's his abuela. You think about it, Tommy. His grandmother is sitting here in Marlins Park in Miami watching her grandson pitch. She used to have to climb to the top of her house in Cuba to catch the games on radio. And the radio signals at night would travel from Miami down into Cuba. And so here's Fernandez pitching in this ballpark filled with fans, many of them Cuban American. Little roller foul, and no matter your political leanings, right, left, pro Castro, against Castro, whatever it is, it's fascinating and it's newsworthy that yesterday 54 years of relations between the Cubans and the United States was thawed considerably when President Obama and Cuba announced that both embassies will be reopening and that diplomatic ties between the two will reopen. That one is drilled right field and deep and gone. Upper deck gone. Gregor Blanco. Sooner or later, they may have to put a plaque somewhere for Gregor Blanco in this ballpark because it's incredible what he's done here at Marlins Park.
Well, he got a 3-1 fastball. It was 94. It was middle of the plate. And when you've had the success against this ball club and in this ballpark, Gregor Blanco isn't going to miss that. The left-handers have given Jose more trouble today. With that home run, the left-handers are 6 for 9 against Jose. Right-handed batters just 1 for 9. Never a doubt about that Blanco home run, his second of the year.
And Fernandez misses in, so it's 3-1 San Francisco. Blanco has 6 hits in this series. Is he over 450 yet in this ballpark?
Oh, absolutely.
Bouncer up the middle. Gordon is there, throws to first in time to get him.
He was 438 coming into the game, and he's 2 for 3 today.
Blanco, the 31-year-old Venezuelan. And I guess maybe it's significant that he's had a big day at the plate with Cain on the mound. Remember, it was his catch that helped seal that perfect game by Cain back in 2012. He and Hensley Mullins talking it over. Mullins, the hitting coach for the Giants.
Hensley saying, "Bam, bam, you hit that one good."
Very nice. His nickname. He's had a nice run as a Giants hitting coach.
They've had a nice run of many coaches. Certainly Dave Rigetti. Ron Wotus has been on the bench with Bruce Bochy.
Well, Gregor Blanco had a supporting role in the perfect game of Matt Cain. This was the catch. On a night where Cain was absolutely perfect. Bouncer towards Gordon. On to first in time to get Duffy.
Blanco has just been one of those terrific outfielders. Plays all 3 outfield spots with the Braves. It was a year with Kansas City. He's a good 4th outfielder, and possibly on some teams could play every day, but just a terrific guy to have on a 25-man roster.
Now Posey. And Fernandez with a breaking ball for a strike. Buster Posey, a sacrifice fly in the first. Bounce into a fielder's choice. Just a slew of RBIs for Posey over the last 2 weeks. They have come in bunches, and the Giants have done a lot of their damage on the road. This is the best road team in the National League in both runs and record.
Decision time for the Marlins, for Dan Jennings and for Chuck Hernandez. See the pitches, 80 pitches. I would guess they did not want to go over 90. And Jose leads the inning off. He's the first hitter when the Marlins bat in the bottom half of the 5th.
Slow breaking ball. Echeverria on to first in time. Jose Fernandez gives up a home run to Gregor Blanco, and it's 3-1 Giants. was Fernandez coming into the dugout.
We saw this last year so many times. He didn't even look at Dan Jennings. Okay, get the rag, wipe off the face. Let me have my helmet and my bat. I want to get in the on-deck circle before they have time to talk things over. You can see DJ talking to Chuck Hernandez in the background.
And Fernandez will lead off against Cain, who throws a fastball for a strike. So it's Fernandez, D. Gordon, Christian Yelich. 3-1 San Francisco, bottom 5. Matt Cain, 62 pitches into this ball game. Fernandez family. His mother in the middle there.
Cain was certainly helped with that big double play last inning.
Fernandez, left field, that's deep, that is gone! You gotta be kidding me! Welcome back, Jose Fernandez, a solo shot. You bet he wanted to hit.
Oh yeah! You've gotta be kidding me. Let the games begin.
Unbelievable.
Second career home run for Jose Fernandez.
Well, as he said before the ballgame, he told me in the minor league rehabs, I've been swinging it better than I've been throwing it.
He couldn't wait to talk hitting.
Gordon fouls it back to the screen. So it's 3-2. Our Warren Henry driving the game. And I think even Brian McCann would approve of the home run truck. Gordon goes down, and Matt Cain has his second strikeout.
Yeah, it was the long look on that first home run against the Braves.
And you know what? To Brian McCann's credit, I thought McCann handled it well. Fernandez, after that incident, a lot of that had nothing to do with Fernandez and McCann. It was Fernandez and some other Braves. But McCann had what he said, what he had to say. Fernandez took it to heart. He actually went to the Braves clubhouse after the game to talk to McCann, to apologize to the Braves.
It was a little different than at Junior Lake peak at a home run and pause.
Yelich walked and doubled. Here's a 1-1. Cain misses in. Good at bats have continued for Yelich. His streak of both reaching base and with hits is growing and getting even more impressive. He is 9 for his last 13 in terms of hits and at bats. He's reached base 14 of his last 18 plate appearances. And that's outside, and Yelich walks again.
Yelich never talked a lot about it because I don't think he wanted to use it as an excuse, but I just have to believe the back injury that put him on the disabled list for a couple of weeks had to have something to do with some earlier struggles.
Now Echeverria, RBI single, struck out back in the first. Echeverria liner to center field. His second hit. Yelich will stop there. As he's going to third, and he's going to make it. Blanco came up. Yelich hesitated and then put it in gear.
Another terrific swing by Echeverria, who stays back, stays behind the ball, and then watch Christian Yelich as he gets to second. Routine. There's no little bobble. Once he sees the bobble, he doesn't hesitate at all. And that's why you always keep your eye on where that ball is. Blanco getting ready to throw it in. The ball comes out. He bobbles. And Yelich alertly took advantage. So the error is certainly going to be charged to Blanco, allowing Christian Yelich to get to third. Good heads-up base running.
Giants bullpen is scrambling right now. Dave Righetti out to the mound to talk to Matt Cain. And Echeverria, who was part of that frustrating night last night in terms of double plays. He bounced into a pair of them. There's a couple of line drive hits. And the Giants bullpen is active. Mike Broadway, the right-hander.
Wouldn't you know, this inning was started by the Jose Fernandez solo home run.
Justin Bour has walked and he's popped out. Jose Fernandez, a no-doubter to left. And a 3-2 Giant lead. And Bour takes away at the corners here. Now San Francisco up the middle is hoping for a ground ball. Crawford, as you can see, almost behind the bag. Panic way over, but not on the outfield grass. Bour to right, deep, and gone. Upper tank, 3-run shot, and the Marlins blast their way to the lead. First it's Fernandez, next it's Bour. Staying hot, Justin Bour. He's homered in 3 consecutive games. Don't leave it there to the big guy. He has some big-time power. It started with Fernandez and Bour, a 3-run homer, and just like that, it is 5-3 Miami. Wow. How about the series that Justin Bour has had against the Giants? Our Toyota trend, 10 career homers, 3 have been in this series. His walk-off shot last night gave the Marlins a win, and this one just electrified this place. In a duel between Matt Cain and Jose Fernandez. Fernandez with his bat may have turned the tide. Back-to-back games with 3-run homers too. Now he's got he can't sit down. Now he grabs his glove as if, don't take me out now. Ozuna is out. Fernandez, who avoided his manager and pitching coach coming in from the inning. With 81 pitches and a question as to whether he might get lifted for a pinch hitter. Escaped the long arm of the law. He got himself out of the on-deck circle quickly. He homers, and then Justin Bour pumps a 3-run shot into the second deck. Here's Miguel Rojas. Count 1-0. And a strike from Cain. And now it's Cain who is approaching maybe his limit. With Broadway ready in the Giants bullpen. It is always so great to have some electricity in this ballpark, and Justin Bour and Jose Fernandez have supplied it today. good time, certainly, for Justin Bour to get hot. The Marlins have needed him in the absence of Giancarlo Stanton. And the Marlins are headed to Wrigley Field, a ballpark that Justin Bour never got a chance to play in, despite being drafted and coming up in the Cubs organization. He was left exposed in the Rule 5 minor league draft. That's where the Marlins got him 2 seasons ago.
And if you remember, Rich, he struggled in that series against the Cubs here. Thought he was maybe trying to do a little bit too much against that former organization.
Center. Blanco dives, can't get it. Rojas around first, stops there. Nice play by Maxwell to back it up. And another hit against Cain. Certainly his most stressful inning of this start.
And a real nice job from Miguel Rojas today. Remember, never known for his hitting, but he was hitting just over 300 in New Orleans before his call-up. He's got a couple of hits today.
Well, here is Ichiro's lined out, and he's walked with Rojas, the runner at first. Ichiro gets jammed. Posey runs out of room. That was a great shot moments ago, and a conversation between Chuck Hernandez, who has such a special bond with Jose, having scouted him and recruited him in high school. At the time, Chuck, who was a longtime Major League pitching coach, was doing some work for the University of South Florida, and he went to go see this young kid thinking he would recruit him, and he said after 1 inning he saw him and realized there's no way I'm going to get this guy. He's going to be in the big leagues here in a couple of years. And ironic that when he got to the big leagues in a couple of years, Chuck Hernandez was his pitching coach.
And there was some brashness to Jose in high school that I think turned off some clubs early in that first round.
Well, when you're 14 and you're shot at,
and you've actually spent some time in prison,
and you've been put in prison for trying to escape from Cuba, and you finally get off in a boat with your mom and about 40 others, and you get to the United States and you walk into Alonzo High School not knowing a word of English.
He took extra English classes so he could learn it faster.
Yeah, every year he would take 3 courses of English. There's a 1-1. One and 2 to Ichiro. Halfway through in Miami, the return of Jose Fernandez, the return of Matt Cain. And wouldn't you know, there have been 8 runs and 14 hits halfway through.
Well, the fans have certainly gotten their level of excitement, though, to this point.
Jose Fernandez and Justin Bour with home runs near the bottom of the 5th. Ichiro pokes one down the line. Duffy to second in time to get the out. The inning is done, but the damage not undone. Jose Fernandez, his second at bat in over a year, blasts one to left, and Justin Bour, a 3-run shot. It's 5-3 Miami. Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're going to love us. And by Checkers, mix and match with our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe.
Really,
into the sixth in Miami.
Really an important inning, I think, for Jose. After all the excitement, the home run, and getting amped up one more time, he knows this is going to be his last inning. And important for him to just bring it all back down, settle down, make some good pitches. You know, Chuck Hernandez is hoping that exactly same thing.
So is his father, Charlie, who's watching over in Tampa, who is a huge Jose fan. Fastball misses out. The Brandons, Belt and Crawford, and then Andrew Susac for the Giants in the sixth. Reasonable expectations. We talked about it coming in. All the hype and all the excitement of the return of Fernandez here in Miami. And even for Cain in San Francisco. Outside corner at the knees. Down goes Belt. Boy, it just got the corner and it just got the knees. Time now for the Geico Marlins moment. Mark Smith, little known outfielder, hit a pair of home runs to beat the Expos. And later that night with Brad Penny, they rescued a man from a burning car. Rojas picks up the grounder. On to first in time to get Crawford.
Yeah, so far, so good in this inning. Believe it or not, the 7 hits that the Giants have against Jose, that's the most hits he's allowed in any home game in his young career.
Do you remember that game against the Montreal Expos?
I remember Mark Smith, and I remember the story of what those guys did.
See, that's a story that you would want Vince Scully to tell over the course of an at-bat.
Maybe not during a Jose Fernandez start in these circumstances.
They don't have time for that. It's interesting to note. The 0-1 to Andrew Susac. To right, hit pretty well. Ichiro going back is there, makes the catch. That's an 8-pitch inning. That's exactly what Chuck Hernandez and Jose Fernandez were hoping for. Actually, Jose's actually hoping for another inning right now.
He's going to try to make a deal for one more inning. 5.
It's the best place. It's the best place that I pitch at. You know, the numbers never lie, like I say. But you know, I think that you know, pitching here is just amazing, man. I feel the love from the fans. I feel the support, and you know, it's just I like to compete. You know, I like to show them that, you know, it is possible. It is possible to accomplish your dreams, and it is possible to be whoever you want to be in life.
What a return it's been for Jose Fernandez on the mound and with the bat. And right now, Jose with a bat is due up second. He popped out on deck. Now a chat with his manager.
Well, I think you have to do that. There are instances where a lot of times I feel a manager will get a guy and tell him he's done and he's in the dugout. Now you get a situation where his at bat comes up and you might want Jose, if there's a man at first base, you might want him in a sacrifice situation. Hey, you might want him up there with nobody on.
Jeff Mathis fouls the first pitch from Mike Broadway back. Broadway takes over for Matt Cain. Matt Cain, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And remember, the ball game opened with the Giants getting 2 quick runs against Jose Fernandez in the first. Brian Morris was up. Mike Dunn is up now. Mathis 0 for 2. And you've got Jose on deck, then D. Gordon. End of the bat. Blanco back and now in. And he makes the catch. And here comes Fernandez now. Good crowd. A noon start in Miami.
It's a camp day mixed with a Jose day. And it's a good mix.
And for a ball club searching for something to feel good about today, especially if the Marlins win this ball game and sweep the Giants in 3. That's a lot to feel good about.
Well, you were talking last inning about expectations surrounding Jose, and today we can make that a broader spectrum and talk about expectations of this ball club back in spring training.
That was a great shot as Jose got back in the box smiling. He and Susak obviously having a discussion. It sounded like, or it looked like, a friendly one. Jose 2 healthy cuts on breaking balls. He's behind in the count now, 1-2. And down he goes. Tip of the cap, and that might be the end of the day for Jose Fernandez. Next Marlins watch party is Wednesday. Marlins will be in Fenway taking on the Red Sox. You can be at the Sports Grill on Sunset Drive with all kinds of good stuff going on. The Energy Team, Billy, will be there. For more information, go to marlins.com. D. Gordon's 0 for 3. His 12-game hit streak has yet to be extended. He's out in front of a breaking ball. It's 0-1. Almost got him.
D. Gordon looking for a hit to try to extend his hitting streak. He's in 12 games now. See, that's a good project in school, also working on math.
Gordon, a little chopper. Broadway waits for it to come down and gets the out. Gordon thinks he's safe. The Marlins will look at it during the break. And a reminder to tweet your strongest fan photo, hashtag FLDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. Jose Fernandez, 6 strong innings, a solo home run.
There is no way we can tell how that feels to Jose, how he feels right now.
Well, all the rehab, all the waiting, a little thumbs up to the family. And now he's hopeful that Miami's bullpen can lock down the Giants from here. Mike Dunn is first out of that pen. Justin Maxwell, the pitcher's spot, and at the top of the order, Gregor Blanco. Dunn gets a strike.
Anytime Mike Dunn comes in and has command of that slider to go along with an overpowering fastball, he has much better success. And great to see the slider first pitch that had Maxwell fooled. He was looking for a fastball, and then comes back with another good fastball.
That was quick. Maxwell strikes out. There's one out here in the 7th. Joaquin Arias. A little pinch hit. Giants pen active. Well, this is a matchup of aces. Fernandez is one right now. Cain has been one throughout his career. And it's ironic, you know, we had this date in Marlins history. On this date in Giants history, Juan Marichal and Warren Spahn went after each other.
Is that long game?
The Giants won 1-0 in 16 innings. Arias swings and misses. and both pitchers went the distance.
That's incredible.
Marichal threw 227 pitches. Spahn threw 201. But, I mean, Spahn was 42 years old. So.
Oh, yeah. And really, it really hurt those Hall of Fame careers.
Mike Dunn out of the bullpen, striking out Maxwell and Arias. So 2 strikeouts. And here comes Gregor Blanco.
You notice how Jeff Mathis, too, took his time to get in position to have a good angle to make the throw to complete the out. I think they said because of his age, Spahn was starting to tire a little bit.
Another big day for Blanco in this ballpark. He's got 2 hits, including a home run. He swings and misses. He's hit in 9 straight. I'll tell you what, the guy on the left, Dan Herron, has been a really nice leader for the young pitchers in the Marlins rotation. Herron at 34 has been outstanding as a starter for the Marlins. He's a very quiet guy, but extremely intelligent. And he's been a real nice addition.
Yeah, you saw those crazy numbers, Blanco, here at Marlins Park. And you're right about Dan Herron. If you talk to coaches, if you talk to some of the pitchers, and they'll tell you that he has been extremely helpful and a quiet leader.
Dunn misses in, and it's 3-1 to Blanco. Full count, 3-2. Fernandez went 6 innings, did not walk a hitter, and he struck out 6. Gave up 3 runs, and remember, the first 2 hitters he faced in the first scored in a 2-run first inning. 3-2. Did it hit him? I think it did. It's ball 4 anyways. And Blanco's on his way down to first, unless the ball hit his bat. But it kind of sounded like it hit a little of everything.
Yeah, it certainly clipped something. Yeah, you can see just the hand, right where the wrist and is a batting glove.
So the Giants with a runner at first, and here's Joe Panik. One and 0.
He made perfect pitches to the first 2 hitters who were right-handers, and he struggled, Mike Dunn has, making those same pitches to the left-handed bats.
A strike to Panik. Panik, part of a homegrown infield. On most nights, you look around the Giants infield with Posey behind the plate, Belt at first, Panik, Crawford up the middle, and now Duffy at third. Drafted, developed.
So now Mike Dunn in a group. He's come back and made 2 quality pitches to Panik.
Count 1-2. Matt Duffy on deck. 2-2 is up and in, and now it's 3-2. Carter Capps is up in Miami's bullpen, and he is ready to go.
I have a feeling somewhere, maybe up in Sea Caucus, somebody is trying to figure out who was the last pitcher to come back from Tommy John surgery, making his first appearance to homer in the game.
Breaking ball misses, and Mike Dunn hit Blanco, walks Panic. Here comes Duffy. And we'll see if he gets to face the Giants' third baseman. And Dan Jennings is on his way out to the mound. Just a 2-run lead in the 7th. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Jeez.
Oh.
Ordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. Carter Capps, who has been sensational at the back end of Miami's bullpen, comes in with 2 outs in the 7th. Coaches have been eyeing Capps, who has that unique delivery, sort of a hop and a fastball that's popped up by Duffy, and it's out of play.
In a perfect scenario, Dan Jennings would have liked to have seen Mike Dunn finish the 7th, have Capps for the 8th, and A.J. Ramos to close it. But under the circumstances, he has to bring Capps in here to finish things off in the 7th.
Capps' delivery similar to Jordan Walden's of the Cardinals. Walden in the big leagues before Capps. A hop off of the rubber, disengaging, and then delivering the pitch. When he came to spring training this year, his delivery from last year had changed. He would hop, but he wouldn't drag his toe. It drew the attention of Major League Baseball. And at the same time, it affected Capps. There you see the toe drag and definite contact. And Capps did not have his accuracy. He didn't have command of the fastball or the slider. There is the slider.
And with his time working on that and working on the delivery and the slider, it was a short time back in AAA. Since his return, his command has been spectacular.
He's been lights out. He's 1-2 right now on Matt Duffy. Blanco at second, Panic at first, 2 outs in the 7th. Caps with a fastball at 98. Posey waits in the wing. Mike Dunn got the first 2 outs. Hit Blanco, walks Panic. Chuck Hernandez, talking about Cap, said he was just too amped up and it affected the delivery, and once they got him to calm down a little, drag the toe, everything fell back into place. Two-two. Slider, no swing. Ted Barrett at first base.
It's where you want to put it. But good patience by Duffy.
Now the count is full, and now the runner's on the move with 2 outs. Got him outside corner. 98 miles an hour. Carter Capps finishes off Matt Duffy. And the Giants strand 2. We're headed out live to Little Havana and Garcia's. Jessica Blaylock checks in when we return. In Little Havana, Jessica Blaylock, as the game started, has been all over Little Havana, all over downtown Miami. She joins us now. What's the atmosphere been like, Jessica, around town?
Oh, it's been so much fun. Earlier today at Cafe Versailles, we saw so many people with Marlins hats on. They had the paper that had Jose Fernandez all across the front of it. At Domino's Park, people getting ready for the game. They were excited about the return of Jose. So we've had a lot of fun traveling around Little Havana today. And now I'm at Garcia's. The tour continues as far as both places to come and watch Jose play, take in a Marlins game, and the food tour apparently continues as well for me.
Christian Yelich in the box. He takes a strike.
Jessica, I'm noticing the plate in front of you, and it really looks good. What's on the menu there?
Okay, so first off, we've got some ceviche And then this is actually octopus, which I am looking forward to sampling. Had a little bit of shrimp earlier, had some pastries over at Cafe Versailles. So, I mean, I was supposed to highlight the fan excitement about the return of Jose, but I've been sampling some of the local eats as well along the way.
1-1 pitch to Yelich. It's fouled off. Now, Garcia's, the establishment in which you reside on the deck, is owned by a former ball player, and it's a great atmosphere anytime the Marlins are playing, or any sporting event for that matter.
That's right. Luis Garcia, the owner, actually played minor league baseball with Mike Hill, so this restaurant has a great relationship with the Marlins. Mike Hill loves to come and eat here. Dan Jennings loves to come and eat here. Jeffrey Loria apparently loves the stone crab, so that's something that maybe people should try out. But yeah, it really is just a great place to come and hang out before a game, maybe get ready for the game, or come here afterwards and celebrate a Marlins win. And I bet Jose Fernandez could show up right now, and after throwing 6 strikeouts and, oh, by the way, hitting a home run in his debut, I think he could get anything on the house.
All right, thanks, Jessica. Christian Yelich taking a pitch on the outside edge. We'll see you on the plane. Get yourself over here to Marlins Park. We're headed to Chicago.
All right, sounds good. See you in a bit.
Eugene Machi is into the ball game. Christian Yelich caught looking. There is a Danny Echeverria. Machi takes over for Mike Broadway. This was a Matt Cain, Jose Fernandez matchup. Cain lasted 5 innings. Marlins got him for 5 runs, 2 home runs. Jose Fernandez a solo shot. Justin Bour a 3-run shot. Echeverria lines it to deep right. Maxwell is there. Good swings by Echeverria in this ball game. 2 line drive singles and a loud out here.
It looks like Echeverria has kind of come back to that swing that kept him at that 300 level for quite a while.
And now Bour. Well, the Giants certainly have seen Bour at his best in these 3 games. And the Marlins desperately needed, since Giancarlo Stanton went down, Bour 3 homers, a double, 7 RBI. This is game number 5 without the big man. Pulls a ground ball into shallow right. Panic there in time. Gene Machi goes 1-2-3 in the 7th. 5-3 Miami. And the Cubs, Joe Madden. Marlins are headed to Wrigley this weekend. Celebrate the 4th of July. And then it's on to Boston. The Marlins visiting Fenway Park. Wait a minute. That wasn't Bobby V, was it? That's right, Hanley Ramirez, Big Poppy. Marlins and Red Sox next week. Carter Capps, who's been busy, gets Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford. Giants half of the 8th. 5-3 Miami lead. Both teams with 7 hits. The long ball, the difference for Miami. Justin Bour's 3-run homer followed Jose Fernandez solo shot. Both were no doubters. Both came at the expense of Matt Cain.
It has been a busy Carter Capps. Capps has appeared in 4 of the last 5 games.
Posey cranks one left center field. That's deep. And it is gone. Buster Posey continues his tear. A solo homer, his 2nd run driven in. And now it's a 1-run game.
When to add to those RBI numbers for Buster Posey, 56 on the year. There's a high fastball. He just stays on top of it. 20 RBIs now in his last 12 games.
Well, an 8th inning guy is much like a closer. You want him to work often to stay sharp. But sometimes, if he works too much, that could be an issue. Baseball back on the field. Yelich there to retrieve it.
We saw how Buster Posey stayed on top of that 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
That one missed everybody. Got a piece of Jeff Mathis' glove. Ball and a strike to Belt. Breaking ball in. Both Fernandez and Cain human in this one. Fernandez gave up 3 runs. Cain gave up 5, and it's worth noting that Matt Moore, in his return from Tommy John surgery, gave up 4 runs, 4 2/3 for the Rays. Brandon Belt shoots one into left field, and the Giants have a runner at first, down a run now, nobody out in the 8th. Tomorrow's starters, Marlins are headed to Chicago, Wrigley Field. Starters presented by Chevron, Tom Kohler, Jason Hamill. Marlins and Cubs had a spirited series here in late May, early June.
Yeah, the first game of that series in June was won by the Cubs and Jason Hamill. By the way, the 4 home runs hit today, just look back quickly. That's the most combined home runs in a home game this year.
Well, Miami accelerated the back of their bullpen with Capps coming in the 7th. Brian Morris is up now here in the 8th. Crawford with a mean rip fouls it back to the screen. Crawford, such a great defensive shortstop, and this year the bat has been impressive as well. There's a slider. Crawford went after it. It's 0-2.
You can see the importance of Capps commanding that slider, because the Giants are jumping on fastballs, and it doesn't matter what the speed. Fastball that Posey hit was 98. So committed to the fastball, and he chased that slider. Tell you what, Crawford has been exceptionally tough this year, and certainly the reason his RBI total is at 47. He's hit over 350 with runners in scoring position.
Another slider, another swing and a miss, and the first out of the 8th as Crawford goes down. Andrew Susak comes up.
The essence of being able to command a couple of pitches. And it doesn't matter how hard you throw. Maybe unless you're Aroldis Chapman, who's consistently at triple digits.
And whose name has been bandied about as someone that San Francisco might be interested in for the back of their bullpen, among other teams.
That would certainly lengthen things for them in their bullpen.
George Cantos, Santiago Casilla last night, giving up the walk-off homer to Justin Bour. The losses by the Giants in this series have been costly. The Dodgers have won 2 straight. San Francisco sits 2.5 back in the West. Remember, the Giants didn't win the West last year. They won 88 games and were the 2nd wild card and had to go to Pittsburgh, where they blew out the Pirates in that 1-game wild card game. The Giants then rolled into Washington, took down the Nationals, took down the Cardinals, and then took 7 games to beat Kansas City. Runner goes, pitches out. Mathis' throw is not in time. And the Giants have been resourceful in this series with guys who don't run a lot. Surprising.
Well, you watch the delivery of Carter Capps, and with that leg kick, a real good jump by Brandon Belt.
Belt just his 4th stolen base this season. Two and one to Susak. 1 out. Maxwell on deck.
Capps at 6'5". Takes him a little time to unwind.
He's been so effective lately. He hasn't pitched from the stretch much with runners on. From the stretch with nobody on, he's got as much time as he wants. From the stretch with runners on, he's got to speed the process up a little bit. He's 2-2 now, the Giants catcher.
Now he has to decide what pitch to go to try to put him away. Does he get him to chase a slider, or does he pound a high fastball in the upper 90s up there to him?
That's an upper 90s fastball. 99, as upper as you can get.
That was the answer. He pounded 99 up in the strike zone. Boy, look how he wraps the ball before he comes through with the delivery.
Capps right now trying to get the perspiration off of his arms and off of his hands. Giants will pinch hit for Maxwell. Angel Pagan.
Well, this is how you're rewarded and the gift you get on your 34th birthday. Pagan's birthday, so all right, you get a pinch hitting appearance against a guy who throws 99.
So Pagan will face Caps. Caps has thrown 22 pitches here. Marlins have the Cubs tomorrow, and the Cubs right now have a 2-1 lead over Jacob deGrom and the Mets in New York. That's top of the 5th inning.
I think the news there, Rich, though, is that the Mets have scored a run. You start looking at that series in Chicago, and I think Caps is going to have a day off. You're going to have to go a day without using it for the last 5 days.
And this, an extended version in this appearance. You see, Pagan has hit well in this ballpark in limited games. Fouls it back to the screen.
The Mets, Rich, have scored 1 run in their last 24 innings.
The other night, D. Gordon hit his inside the park home run. That snapped a 674 at bat run without a homer. Now Pagan takes over. Gordon had the longest drought in baseball at 674. Pagan now at 571 at bats without a home run.
All right, pick your poison to Pagan. Will it be 98 or 99, or will it be nasty slider down and in?
1-2 pitch. Got him. 99. The Giants draw a run closer. Buster Posey, his 13th of the season. And at the bottom of the 8th in Miami, a 1-run game, 5-4 Fish.
To battle in life and to accomplish things that I thought were impossible.
And on his return, with his arm and with his bat, Jose Fernandez, what an impact he's made this afternoon here in Miami. 6 innings, the Giants with 3 runs, and that home run ignited the Marlins. In the bottom of the 5th, Justin Bour would follow with a 3-run homer. Miami's 5-3 lead is now 5-4, with Marcell Ozuna facing Gene Machi. Misses outside. Ozuna, Miguel Rojas, and Ichiro for the Giants. Angel Pagan is in center field. Gregor Blanco now in right. Machi's second inning. A two-hopper for Duffy. These are two of the better defensive infields you'll find, especially up the middle. We've seen Brandon Crawford and Joe Panik put on a double play clinic. Danny Echeverria and Dee Gordon are both having great years as well. Miguel Rojas, 2 for 3. And a strike from Machi. The Giants are headed up to Washington, D.C. for a 4th of July weekend. It's kind of been the Giants' second home, hasn't it? 3 trips to the White House in the last 5 years.
They know their way around.
That is a fair ball. Rojas has his 3rd hit, and this one's for extra bases. Blanco into the corner having issues. Rojas doesn't stop, and he's in at 3rd.
Remember when Pagan pinch hit for Maxwell, they switched positions. Pagan stayed in, went to center. Blanco moved over to play right. How about the day that Miguel Rojas has had? This is 3rd base hit. That ball caroms off the corner. Really no problem. Really nothing a right fielder could do. And once Rojas spotted that, he ended up at 3rd base.
And so a big at bat suddenly for Ichiro, who's 0 for 2 and 0 for his last 18. Rojas in the lineup for his club. Dan Jennings wanted to put his best defensive team behind Fernandez. As it turns out, he's got 3 hits.
Well, do you think about squeeze? You think about it, you have one of the best bunters in the game. Just file it away.
Infield's in. Ichiro takes out. It's 2-0.
But you also acknowledge Ichiro there, even though he's hitless in his last 18 at bats. You acknowledge his ability to know the strike zone, to get a pitch that he can drive.
Now there's the Ichiro contact swing, which oftentimes is slash and dash. And then there's the chance and the opportunity to drive a ball and try to drive it out of the infield.
I'd actually give him the green light, 3-0 here.
You got Jeff Mathis on deck. It's out. And Ichiro walks. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. The Marlins offense coming to life with Giancarlo Stanton out of the lineup. We all know the struggles they've had, even with Giancarlo in the lineup this year, scoring just a couple of runs just too many times this season, tied for 5th most 2 runs or less. But look at the other stat there. This today is the 31st time they have scored 5 runs or more. Moved them up just slightly from that middle of the pack now in Major League Baseball. You don't see too many teams with the low scoring and then the high scoring. But here's the good news. The 9 games that Stanton played previous to his injury, they only scored 18 runs. So far, they've scored 19 runs in the 5 games since, and one of those was a shutout. So it's good to see some of the guys relying on each other and picking each other up. Get a lot of runs and help the Marlins maybe get 4th win in 5 games.
Thank you, Craig. And you'd like to see that continue even when Stanton is back. Marlins trying to be more resourceful offensively.
Well, bunching things together. Since Stanton's injury, the Marlins have had a 2-run inning, 3 3-run innings, and 1 4-run inning. They like to see them bunch things together that way.
Gene Machi is going to exit this ballgame. Bruce Bochy is in. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. His impact still felt. 6 innings, 3 runs, and a home run. Miami has a chance for an enormous insurance run here. George Cantos is out of the San Francisco bullpen. Cantos' numbers good. That's another thing that has been a constant in San Francisco over the 5-year span. The 3 World Championships is a very, very good and deep bullpen.
Well, the Marlins trying to pull something off they haven't done in quite a while. The last time they swept the Giants in 3 games in Miami was in the old football stadium back in 1999.
Fernandez hasn't budged from the dugout. He's been in constant motion.
See, think about it. This is the first time DJ's had to deal with that. Dan Jennings has seen it from another angle. Now he's seeing it right on.
Now Mathis bounced into a double play in a similar spot in the 4th, with runners at the corners and 1 out. Here, the Giants infield up the middle is halfway. Ichiro with speed at first. Cantos to the plate. To stay out of a double play, Tommy, there's a few things you can do.
You could drop down a bunt. I've seen Mathis do that for a base hit, but I don't know if he's thinking about here, and I don't know if that's what you would like to see. You want to see and be patient to get a pitch up, something you can drive. We saw Rojas do that the other night in a sacrifice fly. Hit it to right field.
Throw to third. It pops off the glove of Duffy. Ichiro's headed to second, and that's another way to stay out of a double play.
Probably one that we weren't thinking about.
So the Giants put on a nifty play. Remember, they eliminated the fake to third, wheel to first play, but nothing says you can't do that. Just a straight move by a right-hander over to third.
Aaron's going to be charged to Cantos, the pitcher.
Now Mathis with a chance to drive in multiple runs.
Also, the infield comes in.
Breaking ball misses it.
No, I think they've changed it. Maybe an error to the third baseman, to Matt Duffy.
Fernandez on the rail. Rojas at third, Ichiro at second. Left-handed bat of Derek Dietrich is on deck. And Mathis pops it up. Duffy is there, and he makes the catch. A 2-0 pitch. That's a big out for George Cantos. And here comes Derek Dietrich.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, every time I see Jose Fernandez on the rail like that, it's like a wrestler in a tag team. He's like the second guy waiting to come in.
And it reminds us, and now, you know, having Fernandez make the start for the first time in 14 months, there are things that you forget about his starts. And one of the things that this has reminded us both is how chatty he is during the course of the game, whether he's still pitching or whether he's out of the game. If you put a time-lapsed camera on Miami's dugout over the course of 9 innings, Fernandez will talk to everybody in uniform, everybody who's not in uniform, security guards, trainers.
He'll do that before the game. You know, a lot of pitchers you don't want to go up to and talk to before the game. But Jose welcomes you.
Time is called. In fact, I was in Dan Jennings' office 2 hours before game time. So was Jose. And he wanted to talk hitting. He was actually wrapping the grip around his new bat.
They see it paid off.
Some guys are sitting in their locker with a hood over their head, with headphones on, not talking to anybody.
And by the way, you might want to mark this down. Jose's next start will be back here Thursday night against the Cincinnati Reds.
Marlins wanted to make 2 starts before the All-Star break. Dietrich now, 1-0 pitch coming. A breaking ball from Contos is a strike. Derek Dietrich has shown some pop, coming back up from the minor leagues. Former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket with a left-handed power stroke. And he hits one into right center field. Blanco has room, and he makes the catch. To the ninth, A.J. Ramos is ready. It's a 1-run Marlin lead. Afternoon creeping along in Miami. The 9th inning has arrived, and the Marlins have a 5-4 lead over the Giants. A chance to sweep the best road team in the National League. A.J. Ramos takes over for Carter Capps. Ramos saved Tuesday night's game. That was a 5-3 Marlins win. Marlins a walk-off win last night, and a dramatic 5th inning turned this game. First, a Jose Fernandez homer against Matt Cain, and then Justin Bour for the 3rd straight time against the Giants homers to right, a 3-run homer. Buster Posey sliced the lead to a run. Ramos will get Travis Ishikawa right out of the chute, Gregor Blanco and Joe Panik. And if anybody reaches, Matt Duffy and Buster Posey.
A.J. Ramos has been in a nice groove.
First pitch swing, Ishikawa lifts it in the shallow center. Marcelo Zuna, and there's 1 out. Checkers will bring you Marlins Live, our post-game serving. Jose's big comeback the whole day. Pictures, words, and sounds. Greg Minervini, Jeff Conine, and another Justin Bour home run. He's homered in all 3 games of this series. Well, the true measure of Ramos is, can he get Blanco out? He's been on base 3 of the 4 times with a home run, a single, and was hit by a pitch.
Well, the numbers for A.J. Ramos are almost as gaudy as the numbers of Blanco here at Marlins Park. Opposing batters hitting 142 against Ramos. 45 strikeouts in 36 innings. But this is the ultimate test.
Yeah, Blanco is over 450 now in his career in this ballpark. Has 6 hits in the series. To left, Yelich. There's 2 down.
You and I have talked about the Marlins All-Stars, and certainly hoping Dee Gordon is voted in and starts. Giancarlo will be voted in, will not be able to play. We've talked about Echeverria. How about A.J. Ramos and some of the numbers? It's a tough group when you start putting bullpens together in an All-Star game, but certainly he has the numbers.
We saw the strikeout numbers, 4th among National League relievers. He's 5th in ERA among relievers. On the ground, Gordon has it. Ball game, and Miami sweeps the Giants. Jose returns. Justin Bour goes deep again. A lot to like in Miami today. A.J. Ramos, a 5-pitch night, nails down the save. And a 5-4 final. Jose Fernandez is back. He gets the win and he homers. And all is well in Little Havana today.
He is out there leading the celebration. They're jumping for joy at Cafe Versailles.
H. Gregg, high-def highlight. This may be a turning point in the ball game. His mother, his grandmother, a ringside seat, an acknowledgement, and the long road back finishes at home plate. How about that? 5 runs, 8 hits for Miami. 9 hits, 2 errors, and 4 runs for the Giants.
I don't think Jose would have scripted the 3 runs, but everything else was just absolutely perfect. The way he pitched, the command that he had was impressive, having not pitched in 14 months, and then the home run itself.
Let's go down to Craig Minervini, who's with Jose.
Rich, thank you very much with Jose Fernandez. What was this day like for you?
And that was great. I was trying to be ready for today, but that's impossible. You can't get ready for this amazing fans out here, and this team is competing their butt off, and they're playing hard baseball. So that's always fun to watch, and I think we got a big win today, so it's really good for our ball club, and I'm really excited about it.
All right, let's start from last night. Did you sleep?
A little bit, not much.
All right, so you get up today. What time did you get to the park?
I got here about like 9, I think.
Okay, 9 o'clock. You get a little early. You got 3 hours to the ball game. You go in the bullpen. I even saw you once make a puffin. You look like you're upset with a pitch, but then how was that to get your day going?
It's always good. There's always stuff that you can work on, but it was great, man. I have my family back there. That was great. I have, like I said, man, we have these guys here. It's incredible. These guys are playing baseball. These guys are playing the game the right way.
Did this bullpen feel like any other, or did it feel different knowing this is your return?
Not really. I was getting ready. When I got on the mound before throwing the first pitch, that was a little too emotional. But got to throw, and you got to do your stuff, and you got to give your team a chance to win. They play a great ball game today.
Blanco winds up getting a single. Panic gets one down the left field line for a double. No panic in you, but you give up a couple hits right off the bat and a couple runs in the first inning.
I think that's a welcome to the big leagues. That team is great. They have some good hitters. We threw some good pitches and they hit the ball well. They're great. They're the champion of the world. So I think that we're trying to compete. We took the 3 games in these last 3 games. So I feel really good about this team.
And then after that, you kind of settled down. You had a couple innings where you had to work hard. You struck out 6. 5 of your strikeouts were not on fastballs in this game. Let's talk about your pitches, fastball, slider, change.
I think you got to go by the game plan. I think that will change with different teams that we face. I feel confident with all my pitches. I think I was just trying to go out there and try to make a good pitch and, try to give my team a chance to win.
From an emotional standpoint, when did you gather it? When did you say, okay, when were you back?
After the first inning, right after the first pitch, I said, I got to get to work, I got to give my team a chance to win a ball game. And I think that, I feel really comfortable after that. And just battling out there. And, I'm glad the team got a really good win.
Jose, you told Rich Walsh this morning you had some hits in your bat. You felt good in the minor leagues. And you come up here, and what a great moment to get not only you got the at bat, and then you take care of this pitch.
I think that it was funny. I was looking for it. I was trying to hit the ball as hard as I could, like always. I'm not a good hitter, so I'm trying just to hit the ball hard and try to enjoy the moment and give my team a chance to win, man. I think.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say you were trying to hit another one the next time up as well.
Yeah, my back is still sore from that. I'm just kidding, by the way. But I was swinging pretty hard, yes.
And then you not only that, to see Justin Bour get the 3-run shot, and all of a sudden you turn a quality start and a nice return into a victory. It's got to make all this work you do, and I don't think anybody could relate to what you did to get back here. Incredibly fulfilling today. I think
I'm the last guy taking the credit here. I think that my doctor, I think he did a fantastic job, and Ron Jacob, my therapist, with Sean and the Marlins organization, they have done a really good job, and all these great fans. And I think the most important part is my family being with that support, and Bour coming up big, and I'm just excited to be back with my team.
How long was this wait now that it's over?
It took a little while. Hopefully that's the start. We're going to pitch a little better. Hopefully we can get another win.
Oh, it's an exciting day. Exciting to watch. 13-0 at home here in Miami. I know that your mother, your grandmother, and the camp day crowd, you look like you're enjoying some time with them too.
No, it was great. There's a lot of friends. A lot of friends are here, and all the fans, man. It's always great, that support, that love. I think that fills us up as the players, and we want to go out there and compete a lot more. So I think that's good when the fans come and support, and I think it's great for our team.
All right, we'll see you back here. I guess the Cincinnati game's your next pitching game. I know you're going to enjoy going on the road and try and keep this momentum going for your ball club.
That's a plan. I love the way the team is playing, so let's try to keep it up, and I'll take all of them from Chicago too, and let's go on a big run here before the All-Star break.
A lot of fun to watch you today. Happy 4th to the United States citizen who gets the victory. Jose Fernandez, guys.
Really nice job, Craig, and really nice job, Jose Fernandez. He's as much fun to listen to as he is to watch play.
All you have to do, if you've never even watched Jose pitch, is just listen to that interview and hear the answers that he gives. He's so devoted to his family, to his team. He loves the fans here in Miami. Just an absolute treasure to watch pitch today.
Abuela gets a nice hug and a kiss. 5-4, the final here. Jose Fernandez is back. He gets the win. He homers. Justin Bour, another homer. Another A.J. Ramos save. And the Marlins sweep the best road team in the National League, the San Francisco Giants. All of that coming up on Marlins Live from Marlins Park.